Join us as we dive into our obsession with true crime, history, and mysterious stories. Each Corrupted Clip episode is less than 30 minutes long, providing you with the perfect bite-sized content to get you through the day.
We assume no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions in the content of this episode. The Corrupt podcast is based on the facts and our opinions of the case. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Corrupt podcast.
On the morning of December 17th, 2011, 20-month-old Ayla Reynolds would be discovered missing from Waterville, Maine. According to her father, Justin DePietro, Ayla would be last seen at 10 p.m. at the home shared with his mother and the sister the night before. The hunt for Ayla would be the largest criminal investigation in Maine's history. If you haven't, please listen to our episode on Ayla Reynolds. We're joined today by Donna from the Speak Up For Ayla Facebook group. So thank you so much, Donna, for joining us today. How did you become involved in Ayla's case?
I became involved in Ayla's case at the very beginning, the day after she went missing. My best friend, who was living here in Maine, called me and let me know about it. No, because I was from Waterville, Maine. I had moved away to Florida for quite a few years, and she was just filling me in on what was going on in the neighborhood, so to speak. And she said that this child had disappeared, and it was a really big deal. So I started following it then. I joined online groups, other groups pertaining to her disappearance, to her family, trying to learn as much about them as I could. I don't know why. It was just one of these things. I think it's some kind of phenomena that happens when someone disappears, and it's a child especially. Everyone just gets so emotionally involved and personally involved, and that's what happened to me. I was raising two grandchildren, and and one of them was, one of them is 2 months younger than Ayla when Ayla went missing. So it kind of really brought things home to me, and I paid a lot of attention. So eventually I started my own Facebook group because too many people were trying to censor other people, or you couldn't join this group because you didn't have the right things to say, or whatever. So I started my own group and told people to monitor their own selves because they're all adults. Please say what you need to say. And that's pretty much how I started.
Wow, that's impressive. And so that Facebook group is called Speak Up For Ayla, and you started that in 2011 or 2012?
Yeah, I think it might have been 2012. Yeah.
Okay. And it's got 700 members today. Is that correct?
Right around there. I've had, more, I've had less. I have like newer people who join who don't know anything about the case. And then I have the older ones who are like, well, nothing's ever going to happen of this. I'm tired of following this. So they're gone, their names may still be there, but they're not really there.
So in October 2011, Phoebe, Justin's mom, badgers Karen Small into removing Ayla from Jessica's care. Do you know if Phoebe and Karen were related, or did they know each other somehow?
I think they are, from what I understand, they're related by marriage. Not by blood, but by marriage. Now, there's marriages, there's divorces, and there's remarriages. So I'm not really, I think it was on her mother's side, on Phoebe's mother's side, or then I heard that possibly it was on Lance's side. Lance is one of her sons. So I personally do not know the correct answer for that.
Lance is Karen's son or Phoebe's other son?
Lance is Phoebe's other son, yes.
Oh, okay. Yep. There was a point in time where Justin says that he slips and falls, causing Ayla's arm to break. Were the steps slippery at that time? Do you know if it was snowing or icy? Were there any witnesses?
It wasn't snowing. It wasn't icy. As from what I understand, Phoebe was the only one there who witnessed it. And I checked out all the weather reports for the different areas in Waterville, Maine for that night. And I did find that there may have been some precipitation, but a very, very 0.1%. So that could make stairs slippery, but it depends on the stairs that he actually tripped on. The stairs going into the house, and then once you get inside the house, there's a couple of stairs that go up into the kitchen, I think. Yeah, from the hallway.
That's what I had heard.
Yeah. So he could have even slipped on those if indeed he slipped.
Yeah, speaking of snow, was there snow on the ground on December 16th or 17th when
No.
Ayla went missing?
No, a couple
Any
days later is when it started
Okay.
snowing, but when they reported her missing, there was no snow on the ground.
So that we wouldn't be able to detect if there was any, or police wouldn't be able to detect if there was footprints in the snow or anything.
No. The only thing that I this is way off track, but maybe not. But the only thing I thought that was unusual was that Alicia had reported that maybe somebody just opened up the window and came in and took Ayla. Well, that window was painted shut, so it
Oh.
couldn't be opened. So that's always stuck in my mind. Like, why didn't they do more follow up on that? Because clearly nobody could come in that window. So I don't know.
Wasn't the door unlocked?
Well,
As
that's just yes, that's what Phoebe said. We always left our door unlocked. And I'm thinking to myself, in that neighborhood, I would have never left my door unlocked. But that's just me. No, she said, what? Everybody has keys, but we don't. They're always losing their keys, misplacing their keys, so we just leave the door unlocked. Yes, I remember her saying that, reading that somewhere.
Yeah.
And Waterville has less than 20,000 people, but you
Correct.
don't think it's that safe to just leave your door permanently unlocked
No,
or the windows.
no, that's true. I mean, the neighborhood, their little area that they lived in was pretty nice. But like, for example, when you're searching to find out who all the neighbors are, and you find out that just down the street is a pedophile, and it's not
Ooh.
that safe.
On that note, did the police interview any of the neighbors?
Yeah. From what I understand, they interviewed. I want to say her name was Patty Redfeather or Redwing, or she passed away a long time ago. So, but they did interview her, and I'm sure they interviewed other neighbors as well. But she's the one who spoke, that made the paper and made the news and all.
Patty was our neighbor that overheard the bang and her dog barked, correct?
She did, yep.
Okay. And what about any of the potential offenders in the neighborhood? Did they kind of canvass the neighborhood, go door to door, knock and make sure that all of the offenders were accounted for?
No, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah.
That's okay.
I suspect they did because they had a really large police presence right away, and everyone was basically they were going around looking for this child who supposedly got out of her house. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
On December 16th, Justin, Ayla, Courtney's son, Alicia, and Alicia's daughter were all in the home. Were Courtney's son or Alicia's daughter old enough to remember anything?
Let's see. Alicia's daughter also is 2 months younger than Ayla. So
Okay, so
I would
she's
have to
18 months
say
old.
no. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would have to say no. He probably was old enough. Old enough for something like I saw Justin push her down the stairs, or Gabby pushed her down the stairs accidentally. I mean, I think that he was old enough to recall that because I think he was about 2.5, 3 years old.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Three is
Yeah.
definitely old enough to have a story to tell.
Exactly. Yeah.
In your opinion, Donna, what do you think happened to Ayla?
Well, I have a hard time with this one. I think an accident happened. I think somebody was drunk or on drugs, and there was an accident, and the family tried to cover it up. That's what I think. And I think it also could have been an accident as simple as Justin or Phoebe or Alicia or somebody carrying Ayla down the stairs into Justin's downstairs bedroom. And she probably was fighting with him. Let me go. And she probably fell and hit her head or banged her head against the wall, and something happened.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could have happened.
Yeah, and I have a really hard time thinking she ever left that house. I don't know where she would be, but I've heard they had was that cement or acid in the basement? Not in the basement, but in the
Garage.
Yeah, and they did have fresh cement patchwork done in the basement.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I don't know what that was about. But yes, they did.
They didn't think of breaking that up?
They did.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Mm.
And to my knowledge, they don't find anything. No. I'm not sure what was up with the random patch of new cement in the basement. That's kind of a random thing to have.
Thank you. I knew that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And to support your opinion, Donna, so Justin, it could have been if that had happened to Ayla, it would have been more of a whodunit or more fingers pointed at Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have probably most likely, one of them would have gone to jail for sure if they had reported it.
Right.
Yeah.
The only, yeah. I think, I still don't think she left that house. I don't know where they could have gone with her. I don't know where she went. I know there was blood in the back of his car, but I don't know if it was on the straps in her car seat. But I don't know if that was from a previous ride or if that was from the ride on the night she disappeared. Number one, I don't believe she disappeared that night. I think she disappeared that week at some point, but not the night that of the next day he reported her missing. So December 16th, I really don't feel is the night she disappeared.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think when Trista calls and Justin tries to put her off and says, oh no, Ayla's watching Home Alone.
Yeah.
I don't know that Ayla was there at that point.
I don't think so. I feel like she wasn't. But then Derek Trudella said that he had a play date with Ayla and his son the night before she went missing on Thursday night. And she was there. So, how do you know?
Absolutely.
They're all covering for each other.
Is there anything you think is very important or wish more people knew about Ayla's disappearance?
I should have thought harder about this. I think they need to look at the family closer. I don't think they've looked at the family close enough. I think they've I hate to use this word, but I think maybe politics might have played a role in what they could do and what they couldn't do. However, they did spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money in searching for this child. But it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. They just didn't listen to hate to use that term too, common sense, but a lot of different things. Like, for example, Heidi Trudella went in to help them clean up when they were told they could go back to the house. And she said, I only saw like 3 little pinprick dots of blood in that basement, while other people, police, for example, reported a lot of blood. I mean, there was a blanket. There was a blanket or a sheet that was all filled with blood that was stuffed in a blue tote in the basement. I'm like, how do you clean up something and not take care of that?
Was this Derek's wife that said that?
Heidi is Derek's mother.
Derek's mother, okay.
Heidi Trudella is Derek's mother, yeah.
So she would have known Justin probably from a very early age because they were childhood friends, correct?
Yep, they were paper boys together. He lived up the street, and that's how they met. They were paper boys, and yep, they hung out together. Both went to the same high school.
So that family and those families seem very tight-knit, basically.
No,
together.
I don't think. Let me just try to put this in perspective here. There's like a breaking point in certain neighborhoods where you have the real affluent or more affluent people, and then you have the people who are the wannabes and aren't really affluent. and Derek was from a more affluent, and Justin wasn't. So, but they became friends, and I don't know if the mothers were actually friendly or not. I suspect not, knowing both of them. They're just so different. But it could have been. But yes, they did. Justin supposedly spent a lot of time in Derek's or in Heidi's home.
So Justin took out like a $10,000 to $25,000 life insurance policy on Ayla, but not like his other children.
No.
Do you think he ever received that life insurance payment?
No, he did not. It was $25,000, and no, he did not receive that.
Okay.
That's interesting. Do we think because Ayla disappeared under suspicious circumstances?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go, State Farm, not paying out on that life insurance payout.
That's one thing that happened, right?
And you do know that State Farm, Derek's the one who sold him the insurance policy. That's his father's company locally. Yeah.
Yeah, we dug into that a little bit.
Yeah.
It just seems
another suspicious thing. Yeah.
Yes, it brings money into play, right? Like,
sure.
Did he was unemployed at the time. Did he kill her for life insurance? Thinking it would be easier to get that payout.
It's really bizarre that anyone would do that, but people do those things, I guess, all the time.
Yes.
But it just seems so weird. I know he was going to CDL school. That's licensed to drive, big trucks. And I know that somebody had posted one time on Facebook that the big truck that he wanted was $30,000, and I'm like, what? And I like to think that somebody was just making a really sick joke, but I don't know.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in contact with Trista or Justin?
No, I have not.
Do you know where Justin is now?
He's in Florida. I don't know what part, but up to 8 to 10 months ago, I had heard that he was in Florida bartending.
Okay, so that would have been sometime in 2024.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. And he has other kids, but probably no contact with them?
No contact as far as I know. He had a child who the mother was petitioning Justin via the newspaper because she wanted to give her child up for adoption. So there's that one, and there's one that's a bit older, and I think the mother just didn't want to have any contact with Justin. But then on another token, I heard that she had babysat for him one time and kept Ayla for him. So I don't know.
This would be the other child's mom had watched Ayla?
Yep.
Okay. And that would have been a very short period of time because Ayla was only with him October to December.
Isn't that crazy? 2 months.
Wow.
Twister filed the paperwork on October 17th, and she was gone by December 17th.
Yeah, 60 days.
Yep.
Wow, if you believe that she truly goes missing that evening of the 16th, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It just seems like Justin is forced to take care of his children. Like,
he had a really hard upbringing. I don't like, my husband says I make excuses for everybody, but he had a really rough upbringing. I've heard stories where his mother would just leave him with a young sitter, all 3 of her kids, and she would just leave and not show up for days later.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know.
Was there, obviously this is speculation, but was there any abuse in his house when he was a kid?
I don't know. I would say more like neglect.
Okay. I just wondered if it was like a cycle of abuse, maybe he didn't know how to break out of that. Because there's just so many things with Ayla that you just think, boy, that doesn't seem like it went down that way. And that poor baby got hurt.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Do Phoebe and Alicia both still live in that Violet Avenue home?
Phoebe does. Alicia was married in July of 23, I believe. And I know she moved out into an apartment nearby with her new husband. As far as I know, she does not live back there because whenever I've gone by, I've never seen her there. I've never seen her vehicle, just her mom's.
Gosh, so Phoebe is alone in that house. I don't know, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know, maybe one of her grandchildren stays with, she only has one that she is close with. Maybe she stays with her sometimes. I don't know. She used to live with her, so I don't see why not. But she would be 14. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're doing that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you guys have any more questions, just, give me a call.
Yeah, will do. We would like to thank Donna again for creating the Speak Up For Ayla Facebook group and also for joining us today to share her opinion. So go join that group. We'll list the link in our episode notes. If you have information on Ayla's disappearance or whereabouts, please contact the Maine State Police at 207-624-7143. You can also report information online to the Maine State Police. We'll list the website in our episode notes as well. We would love for you to become part of the Corrupt crew. You can find us on Patreon with multiple tiers and PayPal. This will score you our appreciation and will announce your name in a future episode. Both links are in the episode notes. Case suggestions and feedback can be emailed to us at corruptpod@gmail.com.
The sources for this episode will be listed in the episode notes. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Don't forget to subscribe to catch our new Corrupt content. Please also leave us a review wherever you're listening to this episode. Bye!
Bye!